Good morning and happy new calendar year. I'm coming at you with a new podcast episode to start the new calendar year off on this note. I am outside getting some fresh air, chilling in nature. So if you hear any background sounds, just know they are just real and they come with the territory of me sitting outside. I don't have control of what you may hear while I am out here. Thank you for joining me, first of all. And before we get started, I want to just invite you to pray with me. Take a moment of silence, whatever it is that you feel called to do, as I just speak what is on my heart at this time. Dear Divine, I thank you for this day. I thank you for this new calendar year that you have gifted us with. I thank you for getting us through the past year. All of the challenges that may have come with the year, all of the experiences, the lessons, the growth, everything. I just want to give you thanks for it all because it was all necessary to get us to this point and to shape us into who we need to be. Dear God, I ask that whoever may hear the sound of my voice, I ask that you open their hearts, their minds, and their spirits to receive whatever it is that you place on my heart to share. I just ask that whoever is listening to this podcast episode right now be blessed tremendously throughout this new calendar year. I ask that you give them the experiences that they need, the resources they need, the collaborations, the partnerships, everything that they may need to accomplish their goals, the visions, and the dreams that you have placed deep inside of them. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I love you. And I just want to give you thanks for allowing me to have this platform, to use my voice, and to be a vessel of you, divine love. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to do the podcast a little different this year. And with each episode, it is my intention to start off with some form of text from some kind of inspirational book or some kind of quote of some sort. And today I am actually going to read from the King James Bible. I've chosen to read from the Bible because a particular verse has really just been on my spirit, on my heart. And I won't dive too deep into this topic. However, I will say that as I've progressed and evolved on my spiritual journey, I now have a sense of gratitude that I was introduced to the Bible at a young age, because I now can see that it was a metaphysical guidebook that has a lot of keys in it. A lot of wisdom is in this book. Do I agree with the way that it was taught from every person that I encountered growing up? Absolutely not. But that's where learning about discernment comes in it, and learning to lean into your intuition and get your own personal relationship with the divine, to where you can discern what certain words mean and how it's speaking to you, or how the divine God is speaking to you through those words. So that's where I'm at with it. But yes, I want to share this particular verse from Ecclesiastes. It is from chapter 3. So I'm going to read it to you. If you want to look it up for yourself, that's cool. So Ecclesiastes chapter 3. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. Yes. Man, not only is the Bible a really interesting metaphysical book, but it's also a lot of poetry in here. And as a poet, I can appreciate that. So what I just read to you was Ecclesiastes chapter 3. It was verse 1 through 8. Okay, so when we look into that particular text, it is giving us insight into how we are to use wisdom on what each season looks like for us. And it was on my heart to get on here and just share this as we embrace a new calendar year. First, why do I say it's a new calendar year? Because the calendar changed to 2023 from 2022. Now there's so much different, there's so many different opinions, so much different history on, how the calendars were changed, like the Gregorian calendar, how different months were added to the calendars and things like that. I won't really get into that debate. I'll leave that up to your own personal discernment for what that means. However, the calendar changed, and because most parts of the world follow this calendar, the Gregorian calendar or whatever, there is a new energy that is present, and that is because of numerology. Numerology is the study of numbers, the vibration of numbers, the energy of numbers. And I've studied numerology for years now in different contexts. So the year 2023 breaks down to be a universal year 7. Now, I personally truly feel that the new year really starts in the springtime, because that is when the season changes. That is when the sun comes back out. That is when nature is green again. That's when the animals come out. And if we get in tune with nature, regardless of what the calendar says, we can see that a change happens energetically too around springtime. Also, when spring comes, the spring solstice hits, not only does the season change, but the zodiac calendar changes. And we have 12 of the zodiac signs. So it changes, but it starts over. Okay, so stay with me here. So that is personally when I truly celebrate the new year and really welcome in the new year. However, when this calendar year switches in January, there is still some new energy present for us if we tap into it. So what does the universal 7-year mean? Okay. Before I go into what does the universal 7-year mean, I want to break down the seasons too. So we have 4 seasons that we recognize. We have spring, summer, fall, winter. Now, we're in winter right now, and winter is a time for rest. It's a time to reflect. It's a time to prepare, and it's a time to plan. But what are you planning for? What are you preparing for? You're planning and preparing for the springtime, when that new energy comes, when the spring solstice comes, when the sun comes back out. What are you reflecting on? You're reflecting on the season prior. You're reflecting on the year prior. What are you resting for? You are resting to just replenish your energy. You're resting to restore your soul and just to get in preparation and in alignment. Now, because the year 7 has meanings for us about intuition. Year 7 is about intuition. It's about analyzing. It's about focusing our energies inward. Let me gather my words. I was looking at this bird. I got distracted. It's about focusing our energy inward as opposed to focusing so much on the external. So internally, we have to retreat to this place of solace. We have to get into this space to where we can hear the divine. We have to get into this place where we can trust and listen to our intuition, know what our intuition is telling us, and all of that. So the year number 7 is also about innovation. Innovation comes from those moments of silence, when we're able to be in silence and reflect and all of that and analyze. New things come out of that time. So while in the springtime, that's a time for, new beginnings, planting new seeds. Like we plant our new plants outside or whatever. But we also plant new seeds with our goals and our dreams. And we put the things into motion in the springtime when that sun comes back up. I mean, even when you think about the weather, like the weather also tells us what we need to do. When it's freezing cold, like, we're supposed to be resting. We're supposed to be chilling. We're not supposed to be moving and grooving, because we're out of alignment when we're doing that. When the sun comes back out, it feels good to be outside. It feels good to move around. That's when it's time to do that. If we trust what we're feeling, we trust what's being presented to us. Okay, so here with these winter months, being a universal year 7, we have really beautiful time on our side to reflect, to analyze, and to go deeper within ourselves. And we have special time to really get ready for the next season, which is spring. But before we can do that and get ready, we need to do some self-reflecting. Okay? Last year was a universal 6 year. I shared a podcast on that. And universal 6 year was about family. It was about health. It was about domestic matters of the home. It was about, just really family, and man, universal 6 year, not gonna lie, I had different expectations for my universal 6 year. I knew that the focus was family. I even shared a blog on that. However, I thought that it would look differently. For one, I didn't expect to experience miscarriage and stillbirth in the universal 6 year. I had no idea that was in store for my family. I thought that we would be a family of 6 by the time that August rolled around. But that didn't happen that way. However, I have a deep sense of gratitude because I know that the stillbirth that I experienced, it brought so much healing to my family. And that's ultimately what the 6 years about, healing when it comes to families, when it comes to health, when it comes to domestic matters of the home. When those things require our focus, healing is going to happen. And I saw that happen personally. I saw so much healing and transformation happen when it came to my home and my family. The universal 6 year was also about marriage. And let's address the elephant in the room. There were a lot of divorces in the universal 6 year. There were a lot of talks about divorces. There were a lot of marriages too. I actually attended a couple of weddings that were beautiful. However, a lot of people, the media, shine light on different marriages that were ending. And of course, people that were ending their marriages that were not famous or not in the media. So what does that mean though? With the focus being on family, if those people, couples, or whoever, if they were not in alignment, splits happen. And I'm not to say what was going on in those people's relationships because I have no idea. I have no idea, nor do I want to know. But what I'm saying is that the universal 6 year challenged people to heal and go within and fix matters of that. And if that resulted in divorce for some people, that's what it was. If that resulted in marriages for some people, that's what it was. Because it looks differently for everybody. Which brings me to my point that the year is going to look different for everybody. Even though there's a universal energy of 7 on this year, that's about focusing our energy inward, intuition, analyzation, reflection, all of that. it's also gonna look different for how that shows up for each individual person. And I know that, we want to have positive intentions for our year. We want to have open minds. We want to all, we want to all say, this is going to happen this year. This is going to happen. However, it is so important to get in tune with the voice of God, the voice of the divine, the creator, however you reference divine intelligence, the great I am. It's so important to get in tune for yourself and see what this year personally means for you. How can you use the collective energy that is here for your greatest good? What do you need for your soul evolution? Because we're all on a different journey. We all are on a different path. We all came here for different reasons, different experiences. But it's all about getting what you need out of the year. So as we do some reflecting, last year may not have gone exactly how you wanted it to, or it may have gone exactly how you wanted it to. If you're one of those people that wrote it down and everything happened the way that you wanted it to, that is awesome. That's great. But if some things did not go your way, I want you to take some time and get centered and look deeper within and see if it was what you needed, though. If it was what you needed to expand, evolve, and grow. I have more experiences that I've been looking back on from the past year. And so much changed for me. So I'm ultimately grateful. Like I said, even though things didn't go how I wanted them to, man, they went exactly how they needed it to. And I'm just grateful for that. And I'm just so grateful for the connection that I have with the divine. Okay, we can also look at, as we try to figure out those questions for ourselves, what does this year mean for you? How can you use the universal energy? You can also look at what your personal year number is. Now, your personal year number is going to give you more insight on how the year can go for you, or what themes are going to be at the forefront of your attention for the year. It's my personal year 2. Last year was my personal year 1. And you find your personal year number by taking your birth month and your birthday. You add them up, and then you add them with the universal year number, which is 7. So I'll give an example. Mine is 5. My birthday is May 8th. So I take 5, 8, and add it up with 7. That equals 5 plus 8 is 13. 13 plus 7 equals 20. 20 breaks down to be 2, because you do 2 plus 0. And it equals 2, because you have to break it down to a single number. So it's my personal year 2. Last year was my personal year 1. It was the year of new beginnings. New beginnings. I began so many things last year. It's just wow. Like I began my I completed my herbalism. I began my herbalism certification. I completed it. I began my yoga certification for teaching children from a trauma-informed perspective. I completed that. I did like my aromatherapy certificate. There's a lot of things I did, and I don't want to really just make this about me. I'm just sharing my perspective just to just share, just how I can relate to the personal year. But last year was a lot about new beginnings. I found my voice, my voice. I made a lot of decisions. It was a year for new beginnings for me. And even with the stillbirth, stillbirth was a death, but death is not the end. It actually creates a new beginning in a way, energetically. So that was a new beginning for me too. There's a lot of new beginnings, but this is my year 2, so personal year 2, and this year is about building on the beginnings from the year previous. It's about patience and working with others, cooperation, collaboration, things of that nature. So you can look deeper into your personal year number to see what that year entails for you. You can, do some research if you want to. There's some great apps out there that will calculate your personal year number for you. That's great. If you want to talk to somebody one-on-one about it, I got you. You can book a session with me and we can talk about it. But anyway, back to my point. So we all have a personal year number, and then there's this universal year number that we have on our side. Okay, so I just want you to take some time to see what this year means for you. I just want to encourage you not to get caught up in social media and like what other people say the year is supposed to be like for you. Really try to tune in and find your own. Back to that text I was reading about how there's a time for everything. It's a time for everything. Like, it's a time for everything. It's a season for everything. All that good stuff. And sometimes we get upset. We can find ourselves getting upset with the process. We can get ourselves upset with, God at times. Like, this ain't happening for me. Why is this not happening? It's just because it's not time. It's a time for you to do something else. And that's a lesson that I'm constantly having to master myself, I have to constantly master that myself because I'm a dreamer. I dream big. I always have a bunch of goals up. I have a bunch of vision boards all the time. Like, I am always dreaming so big. But I have to learn, and I have to just connect with the I am and remember, okay, but what do I need to do in this season to bring that goal into fruition? What do I need to do right now to make that happen maybe a year later? What do I need to do right now? And that looks different for everybody. So it's so important to just get in tune and see. Get in tune and see and listen. And that is what the year 7 is about. We're going to see a lot of people withdrawing. And I just want to say, don't even take it personal. If people need personal space to do their reflection, give it to them, It's not really a social year. It's not. And sometimes, like I said, we find ourselves wondering why things aren't happening. It's because we're not in alignment, We're not in alignment with the times. Now, I know I talked a bit about how the calendar year is a new calendar year and all of that. Now, I do want to say this. It's a new year whenever you say it is. You can always start over. Like I said, you can always start fresh. You can always start new. Like I said, I celebrate the new year in the springtime. I also celebrate a new year when my birthday comes because I feel like that's my new personal year. So I celebrate a new year when my birthday comes, when the spring comes, during the moon cycles. We have a new moon and a full moon each month. So when the new moon comes, it's a good time to renew. So we are always reinventing and creating the new. So don't get caught up in, what the calendar says. It's all about really just looking within. And I know there are some people that don't necessarily believe in numerology. And I'm not the one to tell you what to believe in or how to believe in it. But I'm going to tell you like this. For me personally, I have seen so much truth in numerology. Like, it's to the point that I can't even deny if it's real or not. And numbers were here before we were. Numbers were always present. And even in the Bible, and I reference the Bible a lot just because my particular upbringing, a lot of people I know personally, culturally, reference the Bible a lot. But there's a big emphasis on numbers in the Bible. If we see that the numbers are present, like they talk about how many animals Noah brought on the ship. Like, you just see numbers everywhere. And the number 7, I've always known it to be a special number. I was always drawn to the number 7 before I even knew about numerology. Then I later learned that number 7 is actually my life path number, which is so dope. And my life path number describes me to a T. When I say I looked up my life path number, I was like, this me. Somebody wrote this personally for me. Yes, my life path number describes me. So I'll even encourage you to look into your life path number too as you are diving into, discovering, exploring the personal year, universal year, all of that. Look into the life path number. Because once again, the universal year is going to affect everybody differently based on who you are. So the universal year 7, I know it's a good year for life path number 7s. And not to be biased. That's not a biased statement. It's just because, it matches up. And it's a year for introspection. And the life path number 7s, they are naturally introspective. Here's what I love too about the universal number 7, or just the number 7 in general. I can relate this back to the story of creation. It took 6 days to create the earth, according to the story. Regardless if it was 6 days, 6 years, 6 months, or whatever, we see the number 6 in this text. But then on the 7th day, there was rest, and it was done, and it was good. And I can just see that being a prophecy for the universal year 7. The efforts that have been going into the past 6 years were necessary. The creative process for that was happening over the last 6 years was necessary. But with this 7 year being an internal year for shifting, internal transformation, an internal year for doing inner work, spiritual work, deep diving, coming more into alignment. Oh, so much beauty is going to come out of that. So much beautiful things are going to come out of that. I can just feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it deep in my spirit. And what's to come, it will be good. No matter how it transpires, it is necessary. This year is so necessary for the journey. So I want to just leave you with a couple of things. I just want to encourage you to get still. Tap in so you can hear the voice of God. Tap in so that you can listen to your intuition and to define what this year is about for you. I want to encourage you to get in alignment with the divine, get still, get quiet, and meditate on this year and what it means for you. And also just be open to the journey. Be open to how it manifests. Be open to that. Don't get caught up in the outcome. Focus on the journey. See how you can use the energy of this year for your greatest and your highest good. And if you don't do anything else with this 7 year, I want to encourage you to please develop some kind of meditation practice. All right, as I close this thing out, I just want to send you some love. Let you know that I am rooting for you, that this year 7 is amazing for you, that it is abundant for you, and that the work that you do internally manifests beautiful outcomes for you externally. Make sure you download the Book of Corinthians app so that you can stay up to date with podcast episodes, but also the blogs and all of the other things that I share on that platform. Download the Book of Corinthians app if you resonate with this podcast. Also, if you feel called to, if this message resonated with you in any way and you want to send love in another form, feel free to utilize the tip jar that I have on the app. All right, y'all. Thanks for vibing with me. Peace and love.